Hi there. My name is Brian, and I actually work at the Four Seasons here in Orlando. I have for the past 5 years, and the person that I chose for my interview is actually a manager that works there with me. However, it's not someone that I've personally really connected with, so I didn't really get their input, but they are someone that I respect and admire. So I wanted to just get their input on the different questions that were provided. Those were the three questions that I used for the interview itself, and I thought that her insight was actually a little surprising, but I enjoyed it, and it's kind of tweaked the way that I look at things myself. Her name is Ivana. She is the assistant manager at the Four Seasons here in Orlando, the assistant manager of reservations and communications in Four Seasons Orlando. And for the question that she asked, what advice do you have, or that I asked, what advice do you have for someone going into the hospitality industry? She gave a really wonderful answer that turned into this really great conversation that we had where she said that you really can't be afraid. You can't be afraid to change hotels, change locations, change brands. You need to be able to diversify yourself in one way or the other, but she said there needs to be a method to the madness. And this is the part that really caught my eye. Essentially, you should either be specializing, in her opinion, specializing in a certain type of department, from food and beverage to rooms to recreation to the different kinds of departments where you can excel and become a department head, or you diversify yourself across all of them, getting a year or two here, a year or two there, maybe going from recreation from one kind of hotel, like a beach resort, to a more to the Orlando resort. We don't have a beach, but we do have a 5-acre water park here at our property. It's another example, but it's things like that where you want to diversify yourself or specialize, and in your own way, you're really specializing in both of those ways, so that you can be a department head or you could be a resort manager. In her opinion, those are the two fast tracks that you could really take. And I really enjoyed that because I personally hadn't nailed down specifically how I want to go about my long-term goals. So to hear her input on specializing one way or the other was really eye-opening to me. I next asked, how do you effectively manage people? From vendors to employees to bosses to peers, everyone. How do you manage people best? And she said that it was a little cheesy, this part of the conversation that we had, but and even if it's cliche, it's totally still true. You want to treat others how they want to be treated, how you would want to be treated as well, but you want to treat others how you would like to be treated, and just give them that respect, cater to them. She said that's the first rule that she always goes with, and then she also, as a manager, lives through the servant leadership theology, if you will. Essentially, she prefers to always be there and have this support, that everyone knows that they can come to her for any type of question, assistance. If she's on a team with you, you're happy because you know that she doesn't need to shine, but she will be there to make sure that you do. And she said that that's worked out really well for her, and that really kind of sparked an interest in me, because that's really kind of the person I want to be, to help bring people up, not just grow myself. Additionally, how do you handle difficult guests? Now this one was a little bit of a conversation here, just because it's different from person to person. And she really made it a keynote that you always have to approach a hard situation as a conversation. You can't just be quoting policy. You can't be robotic. You can't just say, this is how it is, and that's why we're doing this. You have to have a conversation with them, because if they don't feel it as a conversation, it's much harder for them to see that you're actually sympathetic, that you're actually understanding where they're coming from. You can say that you understand where they're coming from, but if you don't show it, if you don't actually talk about where they're coming from, give an experience as to how you went through something similar, and make it into a conversation, then they're just going to walk away from that feeling that you didn't listen, you didn't care, and that's how some of the hardest guests walk away, just never coming back. And honestly, I've myself, of course, have dealt with some interesting guests, but I found this to be true, and without even realizing it, I'd been doing the same thing. So I really appreciated her input in all of these questions, and I couldn't be more grateful to have someone like her, and this whole interview has been a great connection for me. She's actually turned into something of a mentor since, so it's been really great. And this whole project has given me a new insight into the industry and what I want to do. So I really appreciate the opportunity for this interview. Thank you.